If you haven't noticed, over the last couple of months, I have been kind of slow releasing podcast episodes. Yeah, I went through like a long time without releasing an episode, and then a few months ago, I forgot his name, he emailed me and was like, Ellery, you need to get back into your show, and I told you about it, and I told you what he said, and then I said, okay, I'm going to get back into podcasting, and I'm gonna be regular, and we're gonna be back on schedule. And then I kind of dropped the ball again, and I kind of feel douchey. Mommy, what's douchey? Just tell your kids it's like being a jerk. But I feel kind of douchey because I stopped doing some blogs. I stopped recording podcast episodes. But I'll tell you why I slowed down on the podcast episodes here, like doing the integrating the content from the blog. I split test all of the subject lines in my blog posts. Like I'll come up with 3 or 4, and I usually delay the reading for the title that shows up in iTunes and Stitcher to go with the one that gets the most engagement. So I try to delay so that I can get the most SEO, but I mean that's still kind of an excuse, and I don't want to do that. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is why I have decided to, or why I have been. I mean, telling you I decided to do it would be like saying it's after the fact. But why I decided to put more attention, more focus, more time, effort, and energy into my email list, and not so much on the blog and the podcast. And I don't want you to feel like a second-class citizen because I haven't been paying attention to you. But this is why. And I want to go into some detail for the purpose of informing you. I said and then on my hand I held up 1. It's like 2 bananas. Remember from the Jungle Book when we were kids and he had like 3 fingers held up. Anyway, so number 1, I want to tell you just so that you know. Number 2, so that you can hop on my email list. That'd be cool too, because you'll hear why in just a second. And number 3, if you are thinking, okay, the money's in the list, content is king, SEO, backlinks, WordPress, I don't need a blog, I use social media, but what about Medium and Twitter and Facebook posts and how it's all like really confusing? Maybe you can take some of the things that I'm going to share with you today and implement them into your blog or business, because over the past few months, as I mentioned, I've decided to put more time and effort and energy into communicating with my email lists. Like pretty consistently. I mean, I've missed a few, but an email update about what's going on, new things, helpful information, a new way to think about things almost every single Wednesday for about 4 months maybe. And the results are mixed, but I want to tell you why I made the decision to focus more on my subscribers before we throw up. And you can follow along with this, by the way. If you go to ElleryWells.com/list-focus, no dash, just ElleryWells.com/list-focus. And before we do that, man, I was watching Pat Flynn. He is so good about creating one single call to action. And I'm so bad about it. But I wanted to also mention to you the 31-day writing challenge that I'm doing in August. If you know, like I do, that content marketing is the hottest thing around, and if you know it is the most cost-effective way to build a brand and market a business, and you want to join the 31-day writing challenge where we're going to do content marketing and business and brand building for 31 days in August when everybody else is like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation. But no, you want to go and double down on building your business. If you want to do that, go to ElleryWells.com/challenge. ElleryWells.com/challenge. Enter your name and email. I'll send you some resources immediately, and then throughout the challenge, I'm going to email you other things that will keep you going, because if I email you, I've got to be doing it myself. So just wanted to mention that to you. Even though you were listening to the podcast, you were listening to content that I have created, and I want you to be able to do the same thing with your business. So go to /list focus to follow along with the notes for this blog post, and go to /challenge if you want to sign up for the 31-day writing challenge. All right, intro time. I'll be right back. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs who gave up their 6-figure salary and fancy office to start a business, and I wasn't selling lemonade to my neighbors when I was 7. I wasn't born an entrepreneur, and I never laid awake at night dreaming of owning my own business. My name is Ellery Wells, and I was forced to make a decision. Welcome to the Ellery Wells Show, where we talk with real entrepreneurs about real problems that they're facing and real solutions on how they are overcoming obstacles, achieving their goals, and making a difference in the world. If you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, this is the place to be to help you start, build, or grow your business. Earlier this year, I had a Skype call with my friend and fellow coach, Mark Mawhinney. He's Canadian, and it looks like Mawhinney, and it always sounds weird to say Mawhinney when there's a H in there. Anyway, we talked about social engagement, leveraging Facebook, and about emailing our subscribers. He's got a great Facebook page, has lots of engagement, and he's got a growing email list. But Mark writes his email subscribers every single day. Every day he sends out an email. I'm sure he's got a buffer in there. I don't know if he's actually writing that content every day, but every single morning or evening or afternoon, the people on Mark's list get an email from him. And it's not just sales stuff. It's entertaining. It's, current events, news, reactions to political things or whatever. I'm not on his list, so I don't know, but we talked about it and what kind of impact it's had on his brand and his business. So he emails his subscribers every day, and I do not. And if you are on my email list, you may know this, depending on how long you've been on my email list. Outside of the 8 to 10 emails in my new subscriber automation sequence, actually it's probably like 15, because in the first week I send 3 or 4, like there's an indoctrination one. If you follow Digital Marketer and the Invisible Selling Machine, that's where I get that term, the indoctrination sequence. In the indoctrination email, I send about how to whitelist the emails, and I'm focusing on that for half a second because you should probably do those things on your email list too, because deliverability is probably at an all-time low across the board. And by sending emails to people whenever their interest is peaked, like initially when it's hot, you'll probably, hopefully have, actually I have the results to prove it too. Those first initial emails start off with the highest open and click rates, engagement rates, and then they just go down over time. So I know that is true. And then the whitelisting, how you can have your subscribers make sure your inbox or your email gets into their inbox by dragging and dropping. If you have them click or reply back, basically what you're doing is you're telling Gmail, hey, this is an email from someone that I believe is important. So when you do that, anyway, it creates engagement. But outside of those first 13 to 14, maybe 15 emails, I rarely used to email my list. And there was no sort of regular communication. It was not the best tactic to deploy. But coming up with content for blog posts and podcast episodes, writing Exit Strategy a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever that was, writing the follow-up book to Exit Strategy, which I think I gave you guys a teaser, is going to be called Growth Strategy, and managing my website services business. All of that stuff takes a lot of time. And coming up with unique material to share with my email list, well, you can kind of see how that would be a drain of energy, time, and resources as well. That's a lot of work. And I know, as I mentioned before, we don't have to reinvent the wheel as entrepreneurs. I wrote a blog post about that a few years ago. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but I do like to be fresh and original. I talk about a lot about repurposing, and I would encourage you to repurpose your stuff. I try to repurpose. Well, obviously, I'm repurposing my stuff, but I don't like regurgitating the exact same information. If you've ever listened to the Ellery Wells show or these podcasts like you're doing right now and followed along where it's embedded on a blog post, you know that the content is not exactly the same. I mean, it doesn't take 30 minutes to read 1,200 words. I add stuff. I change my opinion. I hopefully, in your opinion, am adding new value or different value. So we don't have to copy and paste ourselves. That's like plagiarizing yourself, which I don't even know if that's possible. But I like to be fresh and original. We don't have to come up with completely new things every single time. But after I talked with Mark, you know, the guy who emails his list every day, and I learned about the results he was getting from emailing his list every day, I began to think about what I could share with the people on my email list. By the way, anywhere on my site, if you go to subscribe, anywhere, you will get most of these emails. And whenever I send out new updates on Wednesdays, you'll get those too. You won't get the back ones. But, sorry. Anyway, I know not everybody wants to get an email every day. I get frequent emails from Thrive Themes and from WP Forms, and I don't have time to act on all of them. So I know people don't want to get an email every day. I'm not going to write you an email every single day, but if you write content people want to read, something that's entertaining or material that will help them solve a particular problem, they might not mind. And remember, people binge on shows. We just finished House of Cards. We were a little bit late. We caught up with the last season and then the most recent released season. So I know people like to binge on stuff, and they can always archive your emails for later. But people want to be entertained before they want to be informed. So remember that. I forget that often, and I'm bad about that. So I apologize. I want you to think I'm funny and entertaining, but I also want you to think that I am empowering and equipping you. But so people can get all of your emails. If you're emailing too frequently, they can archive them. They can unsubscribe. That will happen. Mark told me he had I don't think he has a high unsubscribe rate, because before people sign up, I think he tells them that they're going to get daily emails. So being upfront and honest will always help, by the way. But I don't know what my unsubscribe rate is. I'm like 3 or 4 steps up, 2 or 3 steps back. People download the resource that they want and then they unsubscribe. I don't know, and I'm fine with it anyway. But here's why I started focusing more on my email list. A few years ago, when I started implementing some of the tactics that I've talked about in the past about growing a blog, the number of people who came to my website every single month tripled. And since that time, and after learning how to create an awesome lead magnet, which both of those resources, how I grew a blog and how to create an awesome lead magnet, just search on ElleryWells.com and you can find them. They might be in an old podcast episode. Let me open up iTunes here in the background. I can see a list of all of those and tell you. Yeah, if you go back to September, geez, that was that long ago? Wow. If you're in iTunes, scroll down to, it's like number 49 right now on the little list, but that's not the episode number. Go back to September 8th, 2015, and you can find the 5 key criteria of a killer lead magnet. If you're on ElleryWells.com, just search for it. But after I started doing those 2 things, my email list has grown like 800%. It helps being on Smart Passive Income. It helps being on the Solopreneur Hour. It helps being on other podcasts and those kinds of things too. But all of that comes back into those 2 resources that I mentioned. But here's the first reason why I started focusing more on my email list. As all of that stuff has grown, comments have stopped, but replies to emails haven't. I rarely get an email or a comment on a blog post. Not enough. I tell you this. I love getting emails from you guys, telling me about something you enjoyed, something maybe that you didn't enjoy. I actually really enjoyed talking to that guy who said I needed to bring the podcast back. That was very fun for me. But replies to those emails has not stopped. And about halfway through 2015, the number of comments that I received on my blog dropped almost to zero. Kind of like the reviews in iTunes. Why haven't you left me a review yet? Where's the most recent review? April 7, 2016. That's forever ago. That's when Rusty said, I'm in one of Ellery's masterminds and his extensive knowledge of tools and wisdom is worth knowing. Because I connect directly with him, I came to the podcast to learn more. I highly recommend subscribing. Thanks for everything, man. So by the way, that's that was a 5-star review from Rusty159753. But reviews have slowed down as just like comments have slowed down. And it was after Michael Hyatt removed comments from his blog, and about 6 months after that, he decided to bring them back because he did some testing on his site. But while the number of comments I received has slowed down, the number of replies I get to my emails has increased. I format both blog posts and my email broadcasts generally the same, which you'll hear that in podcasts, my format about writing, developing a writing habit. And if you sign up for the writing challenge at /writing challenge, you will see the formula that I do on all of these. So I make my blog post and my email broadcast basically the same. I open with a story, I share a lesson, and then I close with a question. It's a little bit more detailed than that, but it's basically the same. On blog posts, this formula used to work, and I'd get a handful of people answering my question or sharing their thoughts. They'd tell me, this worked, this didn't work, I like this, I don't like this, you're a genius, you're an idiot, I love you, I hate you, those kinds of things. Now the responses are much rarer, but I get replies to emails all the time. From a practical standpoint, I'm going to focus my attention where there's engagement. So if you want me to engage on comments, I'll engage with you on comments. If you want to engage with me on Snapchat, then swipe up in chat or whatever it is and say hello. The next reason why I started focusing on my email list is because anybody can buy traffic. I mean, anybody can buy an email list too, but I'll get to that here in a second. Traffic is great, but it cannot be the only measure by which you judge your success or growth. Remember that. Traffic to your website, and honestly, downloads to a blog, a podcast episode. Those things, traffic in general, cannot be the only measure by which you judge your success, your self-esteem, or your growth. Anyone with money can sponsor a post on Facebook, or they can buy a keyword on Google, or they can buy traffic to a blog, a website, or to a landing page. While in the beginning, I never did any of those things, Facebook their algorithm changes in late 2015 made boosting posts almost a requirement. And I still don't really use Google AdWords. I try to get most of my traffic from social sharing. So please share anything from ElleryWells.com that you like, except maybe the download page or the thank you page. You know, we want to make sure everybody gets their email address and gets their own download or gets their own copy. But if it's a podcast, please share it. But I try to get traffic from social sharing, search engine optimization, appearing on podcasts like SPI, and through the Ellery Wells Show, and audio blogs, and those kinds of things. And while it's possible to purchase an email list, a list of email addresses, I don't do it. I wouldn't recommend it. I've never done it. And I'm pretty sure I don't think I ever plan to do it, because spam is a major problem. And I would never suggest you do something to spam your audience and make the problem worse. Everyone on my email list signed up, confirmed their email address, and requested that I send them information to help them build their businesses. That makes these people, the people on this list, much more important to me than the ones who just swing by, read the blog, don't read the blog, start listening to an episode, whatever, every once in a while. And that leads me to number 3, the third reason why I started focusing more on my email list. I feel like I got to whisper this one because I don't know if you're on my email list or not. so I don't want to make you mad, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I care more about my email subscribers than I do about listeners and just casual traffic. Oops. Sorry, not sorry. Does that make me a bad person? While I care about everybody who reads my content or listens to the show, I care more about the people who have taken the extra step to sign up for my emails. Somebody who visits your site might come once, or they might come 1,000 times without a commitment. People who subscribe to your email list have already made that commitment. They have given you information in exchange for more information. And because of that commitment, I send my subscribers exclusive information, early notifications about events and products, and exclusive offers. And yes, I do actually send. I mentioned the weekly updates that I send. There's also other exclusive information that you're not going to find here on the podcast or on the blog. So I try to reward behaviors that I want to see more of, and sending special stuff to my subscribers is one of those rewards, or one of the ways that I reward people who have given me permission to email them on a frequent basis. And since my subscribers are more engaged anyway, I try to talk with them, learn from them, and understand why what they need, and maybe why they need it too. That's helpful information as well. But I try to understand what they need so I can better empower and equip them along their entrepreneurial journey. And that's why I send surveys. I'll mention it here on the show, but I will email my subscribers 2 or 3 times because I really want to know what they have to say. So, as I mentioned at the very top of this post, or the top of the show, is the money is in the list. What does that mean? Why do people say that? Almost every client of mine became a client by following my blog, then subscribing to my email list, reading my content, and then learning about me before they decided to hire me. In other words, my clients hired me in part because what I sent them via email. If you're on my email list, or if you've hired me in the past, let me ask you this question. If you have hired me, if you've paid me money, you bought my book, or you have hired me to coach you, or you've been in a mastermind, were there really any surprises for you? Did I change because you sent me money? Did I act different or behave different? Did I beat the tune of a different drum? No. Content marketing. Here's how to automate your business. Here's the things that you should do in your business. People hire me because they want one-on-one attention. They want me to help them. And they're going to help. Enough about me. People are going to hire you for this exact same reasons. Because they want one-on-one attention. They want consulting. They want services. They want a product. They could our consumers, our clients could do the things that we help them do without us, but they still hire us. And they will likely come from subscribing to your email list. And by the way, sending one email a month, not really enough. They're going to forget who you are. Just think about this. You send them an email like March 1st. They go on spring break and they come back and they get another email, April 1st. Do you think they're going to remember who you are? They probably barely remember spring break. But you got to send frequent stuff. And if you're not providing consistent and frequent value over time, you're going to fail with your email list, no matter how big it is. But I've got resources for how to grow your email list also on ellerywells.com. So make sure you're searching for that as well. And if you go to the link for this page, which is /list focus, I've got links to all of that you can check out. But I'm not one of those guys. I don't have one of those businesses that can email their list and make $100,000. You've seen those people bragging on Facebook. I don't know if it's true, and I'm not one of those people. But using site tracking from ActiveCampaign, which is the service that I use, I can see who clicks links, who visits my coaching and mastermind sales pages, and who are the people who are most likely to purchase a service from me. Looking at you, Bridget. That's one of the reasons why I really like ActiveCampaign, because I can see site tracking. So just heads up, if you sign up, it's all cookies, guys. This is nothing new, but you can track and build your funnel that way. With John Q. Public, it's much harder to tell who's interested and who's not. Most of my sales and clients come from people on my email list, and though I don't sell with every email or most emails, I can still tie many sales directly to my list of committed subscribers, the ones who are opening and clicking and visiting and responding. So, in summary, to wrap up, while I don't email my list every single day, I do email the people on it often enough to stay relevant. And I don't want to become someone, or I don't want someone to receive an email from me. Remember, this is the spring break analogy I just mentioned. I don't want somebody to receive an email from me and say, "Who is Ellery again? Why am I getting this? Who is this guy?" Have you ever gotten an email like that? And you're like, did I sign up for this? I don't know. Was he the guy that I met? Was she the, yeah, you see where I'm going? People are just going to unsubscribe from that crap, and they don't want it. I make a lot of mistakes in my business. I've talked about it. And many of them, I love my subscribers, and I appreciate so much their patience, but I kind of experiment with them. And I think it's probably backfired a couple times, but for the most part, like 98% of the feedback has been positive. But I make a lot of mistakes. A lot of them are with my subscribers, but business is done human to human, and I own up to my wrongdoings whenever I notice them. I own up to my mistakes. And if you would like to join my email list, go to ElleryWells.com/listfocus. Click on one of the links to download a resource, and send me an email. When you get the first one from me, reply back and say you heard me on the Ellery Wells Show. So over to you. It's question time. How often do you leave comments on blog posts? Am I making a mistake focusing only on my email list? Or are you on my email list? Do you enjoy the emails? And really, you haven't come to the blog. You listen in iTunes or Stitcher on your phone. You haven't listened to a blog or left a comment in a very long time. I'd love to know. And if you do have your own email list, how often do you email that list? Are you daily like Mark? Are you once a week like me? Are you somewhere in between, more frequent, less frequent? I'd love to know, and I'd love to know what has worked for you, because I'm always learning. I don't have all of the answers, and I like trying new things as well. So it's kind of early in the morning. Not that early. I mean, it's like 11 o'clock. But I would say, I talk about the weather. It's probably going to be hot in Round Rock today. There was a women's golf tournament or something that looked like it teed off earlier, and they're trying to get all of their swings in before the sun gets high above and it bakes us. Yesterday, my wife took off work and we set up. We spent a little bit of cash a few months ago to kind of update our back porch. So we got some screens and a rug and some lights. I was gonna say that's it, but the screen was having a hard time keeping us cool yesterday. On Snapchat, I shared, I was working outside and I think it said 98 degrees, which means it probably felt like 105. So no matter how many screens and fans, it was still warm, but it's not quite warm yet. Anyway, from Round Rock, Texas, where the current weather is sunshine, no clouds, and pre-100 degree temperatures, I'm your host, Ellery Wells. This is the Ellery Wells Show. Hey, if you're listening in iTunes, would you leave me a rating and a review? Just shoot me. Even if you don't want to leave it on there, I just want to hear from you. Send me an email. Tell me what you like about the show. If you are on iTunes, throw up some stars, 1 or 5 or 2 or whatever. Just be honest and tell me what you think of the show. And let me hear from you. I'd love to know what you are thinking, what you're up to. And again, if you want to follow along with this post, go to ElleryWells.com/listfocus, no space or underscore or dash in list focus. And then if you want to join the 31-day writing challenge, go to ElleryWells.com/challenge. Again, content marketing is thebomb.com, and content marketing is a great way to build a business, and I would not be here if I did not produce content frequently, well, sometimes frequently, sometimes consistently, but for over 500 blog posts over the last few years on ElleryWells.com, and that includes podcasts. But anyway, I'm your host, Ellery Wells. Go do something awesome. We'll see you next time. Oh, hey, if you're still listening to this, I have a question for you. I just updated to the latest version of iTunes, and I can no longer drag and drop episodes into, go to my library and go to music and playlists. After I export my podcast episode as an MP3, I can no longer drag and drop that into iTunes. I have it set to run as an administrator on my computer, and I think I have all sorts of, access. I mean, I'm the only user on my computer. I don't know what to do to fix it. I've done a lot of research on Google. I've read forums. I don't know what to do. If you've had that problem or you know how to fix that problem, would you shoot me a quick note, Ellery@ElleryWells.com, or message me on Facebook or something? Because I am only doing partial ID3 tags for the last 3 or 4 episodes because I can't add anything to iTunes. I can't edit the playlist. I can't drag things to the playlist, and I don't know what to do. So I'd love your help. Anyway, thanks.